So, hello everyone. Lovely to see you all. Sounds like a performance when I do that. The illusion is that there's other than this. And that the most common form of that illusion is me. I'm the witness of this, the seer of this, the feeler of this, the observer of this, the thinker of this, separate from this. And I don't doubt for a moment that virtually all human beings feel that. And that's the discomfort, the pain, the longing of separation, of not being this, there only being this. And it's cliched, but most spiritual traditions have there's always some stories about homecoming, the return, the prodigal son. And they're lovely romantic ideas, but this isn't a romantic idea at all. It feels very compassionate to tell you that there can't be a return, that there's no possibility of returning. This can't be left. There isn't anyone to come back. There isn't anyone apart to become at one with. The wholeness and completeness, the lack of separation, is that there isn't any possibility of coming home. And when you've longed for home, that can feel more than disappointing. It can feel tragic. The tragedy of how hard you've tried to get back to whatever fantasy you had of innocence or wholeness, oneness, God. And it may not sound compassionate to have the intention of trying to annihilate those fantasies, but that does seem the most compassionate thing to do. But it is only for those who have had their fair share of disillusionment already and just need a little boot over the cliff. Just as you're hanging on, you just need someone to come and just tread on your fingers as they're clinging to the cliff edge. Of course, there isn't a cliff edge. And it'll probably feel like falling, but there's nowhere to fall. It's all a joke. It's all a great tragic comedy for all the selves seeking what is, when of course there is only what is. I had a discussion online with somebody, borderline argument yesterday online. She just said, don't you know what enlightenment is? You do know what enlightenment is, don't you? And I went, no. So she told me, I think it was a she. And I went, oh, that's nice. And she said, well, if you're speaking about this, then you must be in that place. And of course, that's how nearly everyone sees the spiritual path in that way. And so after a bit of discussion, she came to the conclusion that I wasn't enlightened. To which I replied, thank fuck for that. Finally, somebody's recognized. um, I have no idea how, but one thing that really does become impossible even to entertain is the idea that there are enlightened human beings. It's just wonderful. I mean, I couldn't mock that enough. I would just love to be in the company of so many enlightened beings and just, I mean, sounds a bit vindictive, like I take pleasure in it. But the thing is, I know I would. That's just being honest. And of course, the other thing is, of course, one enlightened being is very aware when they're in the presence of another enlightened being. What the actual fuck? So the wonderful news, the good news, the gospel is there is no enlightenment. Oh, fuck. What more relief would you want when you've been seeking that shit for 30 years? Now, there may be altered states of consciousness, of course. I mean, I have had a little go with mushrooms and the occasional too big a toke on skunk. And yeah, there's some altered states. So fucking what? It's nothing to do with what we're speaking about at all. I'm not talking about any state. All states are equal. Just some are more preferable than others. You may like a fillet of fish more than a Big Mac. I don't know. You might be that kind of weirdo. But that's how significant those comparisons are. So how do you see human beings? You see them as human beings, all absolutely equal. The equality is astounding. And you love them all because they're human. You don't like most of them, just like the ones you like. This isn't about being saintly. This isn't about being any way at all. The way this is the way this is. And there's no other way for this to be or not be. So you don't have to accept anything. Rejection is just as acceptable as acceptance. You don't have to be happy. Sadness is just as much this as happiness. And I said earlier that this isn't a return to innocence. No, there is only innocence. Everything is already absolutely innocent. Everything. I also had the discussion this week with someone who said about, well, I mean, it's so nihilistic that you say there's nothing you can do. You know, there's nothing you can do. And I said, well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's nothing you can do. You can do whatever the fuck you like. What I'm saying is there's no you doing what the fuck you like. Now, I know that might sound, well, what's the difference? There's no difference and an immeasurable difference in that. It appears exactly the same. Hmm. So I'll just not speak and just let the dog bark for the next 35 minutes. Can you hear it? No.
No.
I'll have to get a dog round specially to do the barking.
Shia has the hand up.
Hi, Shia.
Hi. Let's see.
And you.
Yeah. Team, I think they ask you about this 5 or 6 senses. I did ask this before also, I think, but I could not get this, so that's why I asked you. What happened after this, the death of this body with this senses? It doesn't matter, 5 or 6.
What happens after the death of the body?
Yes, what will happen after the death of this body? The senses.
Well, no one knows the answer to that. But if you want my guess, I just guess nothing.
What I mean is the senses is also it's not something which is not. The senses. So this is also like everything else. It is and it is not. But how some it have to be, you know. So it go nowhere. That I mean. I don't know if I could explain.
I'm not quite following your question. Of course, no, absolutely, this doesn't go anywhere. Nothing goes anywhere. I mean, in an absolute sense, there's no movement at all. Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely nothing ever happens. There's just what seems to be happening.
yes. Well, I mean it was good that you named that. I mean, all there is, it's a movement. It's, you know, it's a verb. All there is a verb. It's a movement.
Yes.
But what about this? Is this also a movement, or this doesn't move?
Well, yes, it's both. It's both all the movement and it doesn't move.
So it's both.
And neither, yeah.
Yeah. That's
So the only thing that can be the seeming appearances of movement. You can't see you can't hear silence, and you can't see stillness. Because even in stillness, we're still objectifying the stillness and making it into something. The not movement is not happening. Really, what I mean is that the non-duality is that there is what seems to be happening, but that isn't happening. It just seems to be.
when you say that this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yes, this doesn't happen, but still there is happening.
Yes. Yes.
So actually the verb is not verb then, it's just a definition.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess there's as many worlds. The world is just what I mean. The world only exists for human beings. I don't think anything else in the universe has any sense of the world at all. And of course, each human being's world is totally unique as well. So I would say there's as many worlds as there are human beings, relatively.
So actually,
Absolutely, there aren't any.
so actually then there is, when you say there is nothing happening, it means that there is no movement either.
No, there's no movement yet. There's just seeming movement.
Yes, seemingly because I see the thing. So
Yeah,
it's me.
yes. Yeah.
But actually this me is also, it's whatever this me do, or I call it me because I don't know that who said that there is you. But anyway, now it feels like this, that this is this human being is, you know. So according to you, yes, there is no body at all. There is not even the body.
No, that's just the appearance of the body, yeah. The body is just an appearance.
But when you say the appearances, is the appearances, all the appearances a material, you know, is a matter?
Well, I mean, whether it's material, you know, whether you say it's solid matter or it really, all that seems to have happened here, I did want answers to those questions, and now it doesn't matter whether it matters or not, or whether there is matter or not.
Yeah, because
I remember Tony Parsons telling a great joke about it, and I've forgotten it. It was something along the lines of scientists have found that, you know, they've been looking into this matter of matter for a long time, and they've found, you know, there's not only literal matter, there's dark matter. Yes, it's dark matter.
yes.
And there's also, what's the other one?
Doesn't matter.
No, and then the most recent finding is
It's
that
a
it
wave.
does.
It's yeah, yeah.
I've told this joke appallingly. It's just embarrassing
I just
to me.
looked it up as well.
And Darren's
did
meant
the
to be my
punchline.
straight man, and he's just fucking coming with the punchline. It's dreadful. That's why you should never work with animals, dogs, or Darren.
Yeah.
No, what all I mean, Sheer, I'm not taking the mickey out of you at all. I just mean that the whole matter of, you know, is it real or not? That's what dies. I couldn't care less. Literally, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, actually doesn't matter even what you say, but there is, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely no, of course not.
I mean, this question come up, but actually, you know, what I want to say is that I do understand this message. I do understand the message. In the beginning, I did understand this, and that's why he just shoot me, but he didn't kill me. You know,
Yeah,
you know, I
yeah,
you know that's the problem, that I become shoot but not killed. You know,
yeah.
this
You're
make
just
me.
wounded. Hopefully mortally wounded, though, Sheer, with a bit of luck. I hope the
Yeah.
bullet's close to the heart.
So luckily I can say I don't know, but anyway,
No.
you know, I just have one more question. Do you dream?
Do I what?
A dreaming.
Dream? Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And I think interestingly, in my dreams, I'm quite often me. You can make whatever you want of that. I just thought I'd throw it out there just to confirm that I'm not enlightened. I
because
mean,
you know,
Carl Jung would have a field day. You know, he thinks he's enlightened and he dreams as me. Well, there's fucking proof.
no, but the dream, you know, what I mean is when there is a dreaming, there is knowing of dreaming, you know.
Yeah, sometimes and sometimes not, I think.
Yeah.
But but when this loses its significance, when waking life is loses its relevant significance, its weight. Of course, the fantasy of, oh, if I analyze my dreams, I will then be able to infer how these correspond to my waking self, my waking life. All interest in them has died. You're talking, and I'm talking from someone who spent a lot of years studying dream analysis and asking clients about their dreams and giving them my bullshit ideas of what they meant. As if
Yeah.
my ideas of what they meant had any significance. I mean, your ideas of your dreams don't mean anything, but mine are going to mean a lot less. That's for sure.
Yes,
So
but I mean,
dreams are meaningless.
dream is, but I don't know. It feels sometimes sense like this, that this is not different than that night dream,
No,
or just this awakening dream, you call it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's again, that's very common. I mean, most speakers of non-duality have talked about the waking dream, and yeah.
Yeah.
But I tend not to call the waking life dream because it implies that there's a reality other than the dream. And so that never feels appropriate to call this a dream. I kind of get why some say that, because it's not absolutely real. But when there's no possibility of knowing absolute reality, and this is the only reality that is possibly known, then of course, why would you call it dream if it's all that is real?
Yeah.
So I don't call this waking dream. I could say what we're speaking about is the death of the dreamer. But of course, the death of a dreamer is just in the dream, because the dreamer was the dream. And of course, a dream death is no death at all.
That's a paradox again. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, yeah.
Thanks.
Alexis, did you want to say something? Or you did earlier?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, who's that?
This is Troy.
Hi, Troy.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
So you mentioned parallel lives or something like that in the earlier conversation, and I've had this interesting idea that parallel lives do happen. It's what is happening. It's all parallel lives. There's no merging of the experience. How do I describe this? There's no merging of the, it's like I can't merge my experience with your experience. I can't
Oh, no.
see from, yeah. So I see that like these are these little these parallel lives that are happening all the time, seamlessly, just, you know, in it all. It's just
What?
an interesting idea I have.
Well, I mean, you said I mentioned parallel lives. I'm pretty sure I've never said parallel lives before, but
Okay, well, okay, maybe I heard that. I don't know, the other person. I don't know, it doesn't matter.
yeah, I don't think I've ever said, because that doesn't ring true to me.
Okay.
Because I mean, if we're talking about the relative, then relatively what you've called your life is the whole of life.
Yeah,
It's just not yours.
right. Yeah.
There aren't any parallel lives. All the parallel lives will be that will be what you called your life, which isn't yours, and that's you're imagining the parallel lives. Anything you imagine about anyone else's life is just imagined. You know nothing. You know nothing of anyone else.
Oh, I'm clear that, yeah, I got that clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
It's like
So I
pretending.
get what you mean. So then you can sort of conceptualize that all human beings are, so they're seemingly in relationship, but not in relationship because they never actually touch each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got it like that. Like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
I have to say, it makes me laugh when I see couples, because I used to do this. I remember doing this too. But I see couples who, in an event, they look at each other and there's this I know what you're thinking look they give each other. And I just want to laugh every time because I get it. I don't get what anybody, I don't even get what this, I don't even get this. How could I try and parse out what someone else?
No.
So that whole concept, I guess,
Yeah.
the parallelishness,
Well,
parallelishness.
yeah. I mean, the wholeness and the completeness of this is that there isn't any other. There isn't any other than this.
Yeah.
And what this is what I called my world.
Uh-huh.
It's just not my world.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't belong to anyone.
Uh-uh.
And that's the freedom. It's the freedom from me being the manager. So all that seems to have happened is the manager just didn't turn up to work. He just stopped turning up.
I like that.
And of course, the manager was never required.
Which becomes obvious.
He was always surplus to requirements. If a company wants to downsize and they want to what are they make the workforce a little leaner and more efficient. Well, the best thing you can do is sack the manager who's just dead weight and you're just carrying him around.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the wonder of wonders is that you were so concerned about keep juggling all the balls and keeping your life together, keeping it together, holding it together. Well, there isn't actually anything to hold together. it was the fear of this being totally free. That was the fear that kept the holding on and the desperate need to manage what's happening.
Yes, as I'm a recovering control freak.
Oh, you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone in that, Troy.
That was for me, the liberation and really like grokking. It's like, that's a word I like to use, grokking, because it's doesn't mean anything maybe. It's that I don't have any control. Troy has no control. Troy has never had control, even though there was a continual effort to appear as if I had control. And that, me, to like really, that as I brought that in and really grokked it, and like there was just such a relaxation and relief to get, one, nothing ever mattered or even matters now, and I had no control over it either way. And that's just just
Yeah.
good.
Oh, that can be a great relief. Yeah, it's a great relief for the. I mean, it's not a relief for you. I mean, self doesn't want to be redundant. I don't know how it was for you, but here it felt really tragic and very terrifying to be out of control, because I'm either in control or I am out of control. That's the sense of me. Me says, I'm in control. Or now, here's the thing: I'm not talking about that you never had any control. No, there was never you to be in or out of control. So there can be a sense of control, and there can be a sense of, oh, fucking anarchy, out of control. But none of it is yours. They're just naturally occurring happenings. This is everything that you don't want. Because if you're very, very honest, if self is very honest with itself, all self has wanted always is more control.
Yes.
Because more control equals more security, more safety for me equals better life for me.
Okay.
And that's the lie. That's the illusion where self lives. And you have to keep, I mean, the vigilance required for that is totally exhausting. And for some human beings, most don't ever get exhausted enough to end up at a non-duality meeting, but some do. I've just had enough of myself. I'm sick of myself. I've had enough of this shit. And, you know, all this self-created suffering.
Yeah. There's
but of course self can't escape from self, because self is illusory. There's actually no escape. So all the efforts to escape, which is all the spiritual paths, all the self-help paths, all the therapeutic paths, yes, they can help self, but that's not what we're speaking about. I'm not here to help you. I have no intent to help you. I am interested in the peace and ease and unconditional love of the human being, but you, I couldn't give a shit about.
mostly me neither.
So
It's there was
so
an emotional, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go.
There was an emotional addiction for quite a few years, and I'm exploring that, but that doesn't matter. And in that there was, if I can't control this, so I have to control this, which neither one was going on. Nothing was happening. I thought, the me thought, the self, whatever you want to call it. Troy thought that she was controlling everything and trying to control her emotions. And so that's what it's like when total grokkness of, oh, you've never had control, you never will. I mean, all of that was a let go. It's like, oh my gosh, what a wonderful let go. So this is just the story of the experience that I had in regard to that. So it's just a story.
Yeah. Oh, it's all a story, Troy.
Tell a story. Yeah. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, there's no escape from the story, no matter how hard you try. If you the story of escaping from the story is another story. And of course, people love to tell the story of how they've escaped from the story. And I'd say, well, if you escape from the story, there really would be nothing. And of course, I don't doubt that there will be an escape from the story when the body dies. That will be the end of the story.
Yeah, has his hand up.
Who does?
Yeah.
Oh, Sheer again.
Yeah. Yes, I asked this about the knowing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When is there some sort of knowing, not knowing by a me knowing, by a concept knowing, but just knowing?
I don't know.
Because when I say that this is a glass, so I know that this is a glass.
Yeah. Oh, there's relative knowing, yeah.
But as I understood this message, when you say glass, it's just glass, but not knowing about glass.
No, it's exactly the same as
It's exactly
would
the
be.
same.
Exactly the same. Relatively, so we're talking about perception really there, and the knowing of what seems to be seen, what appears, and relatively that's exactly the same. And the absolute, when I say, so I'll say there's a glass and the glass is empty. I don't mean it hasn't got any contents in the glass. I mean the actual glass is not there as well as being there. Now the not there, you don't see that. That isn't known. I don't know what it is. The emptiness is what we can't speak about. The not knowing is what you can't speak about knowing, not knowing. Because then it would be the known, wouldn't it? So the known remains, and the freedom from the known would be that the known is exactly as it's always been. You know objects and the relationships between objects just as you always have done. That doesn't change in any way at all. But there's also a doubting that you don't know this, the non-appearance, the emptiness, the the nothingness that the something is. It's really impossible to convey in words, because as soon as I speak about nothing or emptiness, it sounds like I know what I'm talking about, and I don't know anything about it at all. I just know what I've always known, which is this relative dualistic appearance. That's what's known. When people talk about this is where I guess what I'm speaking about does sound quite different from a lot of spiritual non-duality, is that they're talking about knowledge of the knowing of emptiness, knowing of nothing, knowing of the absolute. I mean, especially spiritual, when they're talking about knowing of being, knowing of awareness, knowing of consciousness. No, I'm not speaking about any of that. I have no knowledge of that at all. All I'm speaking about is the relative, the dualistic is non-dual. So there's an appearance of objects and there are no objects. It will not make any sense. It's no good. You can ask as many questions as you want. You can keep reading you can go to as many meetings as you want. This is a mystery in the sense of it will not be, It will not be rationalized and made logical. It just won't. It's totally irresistible. It resists all attempts for the mind to comprehend. There is no way that nothing can be everything and everything is nothing. That isn't ever going to be grokked. And so when I talk about not knowing, that's what I mean. The freedom to speak about this is I don't know what I'm talking about. Not that I know what I'm talking about. And that there can't be anything more nonsensical. I mean, if I tell my mates, what do you talk about? You know, what do you teach? Because I've always been a teacher. And I say I teach non-duality. So you know non-duality? I went, oh no. No, I don't. If you know non-duality, that's duality straight away. I mean, it can't not be. It's knowledge of something else, and there isn't something else.
But even the science, you know, they do know that everything is it's nothing. It's coming from nothing. But they are not that, you know. They do talk about that.
Yeah, but when they say nothing, they just think that they haven't found what it is yet. Always.
Yeah.
That's what science will, when they say, you know, empty, they mean that they haven't got the equipment, or they haven't got the scientific knowledge to find out what it actually is.
Yes, but I think they will never catch this.
No.
You know. They try
No.
and try. They try. I mean, everything when you analyze everything. I mean, I did in my life. I do.
Yeah.
Everything when you analyze, you in the end you find nothing. There is nothing.
No, and nothing is everything. The thing is,
Yes.
if you I mean, this is again the most incredible news. If there is a finding that there's nothing to find, then what is undoubted is everything.
Yeah. That's right.
Because you've stopped looking for something else, because there's only ever been everything.
Because
But
it
of course,
fits.
you're not going to, there's no seeing of everything if you're saying, well, this isn't all there is.
It
And by
fits,
that,
you know,
I mean, there's other places, there's other space, there's other time. There's so much more to see. I've got quite a few mates who are my age, and all they keep saying is there's so much more of the world that they've got to see before they die. And I went, you do know, it will be just the fucking same wherever you go, don't you? It will just be everything, always. And they went, don't be ridiculous. I haven't been to Bali yet.
Yeah. There is really nothing to find.
No.
Even if you find it, it's still the same. It's not different.
Yeah. I mean, I would say there are two types of speaking about non-duality. One that says there's nothing to find, and one says that, oh no, you've got that wrong. Because of course that just means you're not enlightened yet, because you haven't found what you truly are. Well, I'm saying you truly aren't.
Yeah, that's right. You say that. Yes.
But there isn't anything else.
Yes. There's.
The thing is that all self can do is imagine the absence of, in my absence, then there will be something in my place. No, there won't be something in your place.
No, that's just my place.
You already don't have a place. So there will be no replacement. You know, the absence of me, what will it be replaced with? It will be replaced with bliss. And it will be with, replaced with Sat, Chit and Anda. Well, it might be, but it probably will just be exactly as it is.
Yeah, that's I mean, you know, I don't know about this Sachin Ananda, Pananda. This I
No, you
never.
know, all I
I
mean
ne-
is it's the fantasy of without me, then everything would be okay. I mean, that's the fairy tale. This life is already without you, under the illusion that it's with you.
Yeah.
The absence of you is no absence at all. You won't notice.
Mm. Yes. Yes.
Thanks, yeah.
Thank you very much.
I was just thinking about what Shia said earlier about being wounded, you know, not
Yeah.
dead yet, but being wounded. But of
Mm.
course there isn't someone or anything that is wounded, but
No.
there's still a searching for an expectation of something to arrive,
Yeah.
and that then I will fully be gone. But already there's no wound,
No. Oh,
and
absolutely not.
there's nothing to arrive.
No.
It's just this as it is.
No. And of
Yeah.
course, I mean, I spent a lot of time in therapy on my wounds,
Mm,
like a lot of you have. The
mm,
wounded child.
mm,
It's very popular.
mm.
But of course, they were never your wounds.
Yeah. And I was thinking about what you were saying about, you know, the glass. You see the glass, it's still exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say there's conviction that the glass is seen somehow. So the glass
No.
is, it's sort of exactly the same, but sort of just can't quite, you
Yeah.
know,
Well,
say.
I mean, yeah, it's real
Yeah,
as it would have been in
yeah,
that way, but it's also unreal. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because of course it takes me to make it real or somehow
Well,
give it a
and yeah, of course it is but of course it is just as real as ever it was.
yeah.
That's the
It's just
thing,
without
because
it's just
everyone
with
thinks that it'll have to appear unreal. No.
yeah, no. But it seems without the conviction that I am seeing it,
Hmm.
somehow there's an emptiness to that.
Yes, there is.
Yeah,
The emptiness is that I'm not seeing it. Yeah.
yeah,
Because what seems to be, if I was trying to describe it, it would be that if there's the inside is empty, so you know it's not me seeing it.
yeah.
You could say if there's any seeing, it's emptiness that's seeing it. Then what will emptiness see? It will see emptiness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all bullshit as well, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Mary Rose has her hand up.
Oh, Mary.
Hi, Tim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So, guess I have a question about doubtlessness, when, in your, I'll use the word experience, although I
Yeah.
know it's not an experience, but
No, that's fine.
even though there's nothing is known, is there some doubtlessness about there for Tim,
Mhm.
that some, I don't want to use the word clarity, but do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I think, yeah, kind of.
In other words, not known, okay, and
Mhm.
not okay, this is clear because
Mhm.
there's just what is, but is there some kind of I would say, I want to say like a gut, an alignment with the gut in the body, like, okay, that you have this gut feeling or whatever, that there's an undoubtedness that this is just it. I mean, Yes,
No, no, there's none of that. It's none of
Okay.
that. It's just not doubted.
So it's just not doubted, but it's
I
not
can't,
doubtless.
yeah, the doubtlessness I can't explain. I can't analyze that. Because if you start to dissect that, you're actually, you're just going back into a story.
Intellectual.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's all mind shit. So the doubtlessness is really the mystery. How can it be doubtless that this is happening, and equally doubtless that it's not happening? The mind won't get anywhere looking into that, and there can't be an understanding of this. That's what I'm pointing to.
So
You
the
try.
doubtlessness is a
The
word
doubtless.
it's the best word you have.
Yes.
Yeah, I see. It's
So
a concession.
it is a concession. That's exactly it. So rather than say I know that I don't know, I say it's doubtless I don't know. It's kind of being, it's a bit using words really, but
Yeah.
we haven't got any other way of communicating.
So in your in your situation, with you, when something's arising, whatever's happening is happening. So you may be in a situation where you're dealing with somebody who wants to sell you a car and you're not sure. There's still that gut reaction. None of that is any, like, every character's different. They'll have the same kind of intuition or things like that arise as an individual character with
Yeah.
you don't need a self for that. Those are
Absolutely not. No.
patterns and conditionings.
No, the whole
Just like you are conditioned to say fuck off a lot.
Well, my mother wouldn't be happy if she was here, but I still get, every time I swear, I think of her sitting in the other room and going, Timothy, there's no need to swear so much, really. But
So when your cat died, you were very sad, right? I mean, that nothing of that changed, right? I mean,
no, I think emotional reactions tend to be probably more, I think they're almost exactly the same, but slightly more full on, more direct. Because
so
really
you filtering it out.
the illusion of self is really a break on the human being to, I have to rein myself in a bit, otherwise, who knows what the fuck I'll do. I could do anything, couldn't I? I could wreak havoc. Well, here's the thing. No, you probably won't wreak havoc if you're not a wreak havoc kind of human being. The whole myth is that you were the one who was reining it in. There was never anything to rein in.
Right. I mean, like, it's me driving over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, which is a big bridge here in US. And
Yeah.
I said to myself once, okay, drive off this bridge, drive off this bridge. Of course, my hands aren't leaving the steering wheel, but it just, some things I know, and it's very, very clear that I couldn't do if I wanted to, or saying, well, don't have a beer tonight, and then finding myself in, having a beer. Even though I'm walking to the fridge saying, you shouldn't, you were said you weren't going to do that, whatever
Yeah.
it is, it's
Yeah.
just going to happen or not.
Yeah, or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about the end of self, and we're not talking about self falling away.
It wasn't there.
We're talking about there is no self. But there will be, but there obviously are stories of human beings who used to be have a total conviction in the reality of themselves, and then there is no conviction in the reality of themselves.
So
But here's the thing, that conviction isn't replaced by another conviction. So this conviction of doubtlessness that it sounds like I'm talking about, it's of nothing at all. But it does feel like unconditional love. And the reason I speak about it is because it feels so compassionate to speak about it. And I would wish all selves who are sick of themselves, which I certainly was, to that human being to be freedom have some freedom from me. But of course, that actually is just another story. There really isn't freedom from me, because there isn't a me to be free from. But in the story, that's the only story where we can speak about this.
Okay.
That's not true either.
Okay. So when there's no self, that means there's no free will. So no self means no free will, because who would there to be to have free will?
Yeah, but there's no absence of
there's-
free will. So the appearance of free will appears or not, it's just an appearance. So it might appear that a choice has been made freely, or there might be a feeling of a choice that has been made against my will. This is the thing, is it's not that the free will was yours. So
My
so
daughter's here with me giggling.
there isn't free will or the absence of free will. Free will appears or not, it's just not yours. It's just another thing claimed by me. Human beings seem to make choices. They were never your choices. It was never your free will. So there can be a sense of free will, and it's never been anything to do with you.
So was there any kind of and I don't know your story, you know, I know the story of the initial thing in the woods, whatever, and I know it's all a story because there wasn't anyone. But was there like a grieving period, because every relationship is gone then, because there isn't, if there's, that means it's an annihilation. It's 100%. There's no one there to grieve, but the grief, I guess, would be, because for me, you know, the glimpse happened and it was literally existential terror, because there was nothing to grab onto and no one to help me through that. And thank God it went away, but now I want it back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a lot of that. Yes.
Okay. There was.
There was a lot of terror. And there was a lot of grieving for me. And the grieving for me is grieving for all the me's who don't exist.
Right. Because that's
That's
separate, you know, it's all.
That's the pain of separation. Yeah, of course. If it's undoubted, if you see the pain of separation, then you see it in every human being you meet, with a conviction that they are themselves. That's so heavy. I mean, you cry for everyone.
Yeah.
I cry for kids who are and their little embryonic selves who are trying to make their way in the world. It's I mean, you've got to be pretty hard-hearted not to be moved by that.
Right. And then it's almost like an unbinding, I guess, because there is some I mean, not for everyone, because I think every situation is different for,
Yeah.
you know, this non-dual, you know, from, you know, the speakers I've heard,
Yeah.
because everyone has their own patterns and conditionings, and, you know, but so I guess that's just an individual thing. If it's, you know,
well,
Anders Mueller, you know, Anders Mueller said, you know, I had a very soft landing, you know, it wasn't this big.
Yeah, I have heard that happens. I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah, I mean, that would be shocking, because it's literally like there's no one there to console you. And it's just gone.
No,
on every level.
This is there is no consolation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the unconditional love.
And yet, why do I keep coming back to, like, why would I want this? I mean, something is compelling me to keep coming, like, and even though I know what's at stake.
Well, I'm guessing because there's nothing at stake.
Oh, yeah.
I guess you do. When I say there's something about you, about the human being you call you, that doesn't doubt that there actually is nothing at stake.
It's
And
so obvious.
who wouldn't wish to have nothing to lose?
Right, exactly.
Who wouldn't want life to be nothing to lose? I mean, that is the peace that passes all understanding. there is nothing to lose. Because there is nothing to lose.
There's nothing to lose, but at the same
No.
time, the bottom falls out. In my that glimpse for me, the bottom literally felt like it felt like
Oh, your bottom fell out. Yeah.
yes, exactly. That's
Of
true.
course, your bottom is the only bottom that there is. There isn't a bottom to fall out. So when your bottom falling out, which I'm really amusing myself saying your bottom, which is, I can just see Ileana just nodding, thinking he's just like him saying your bottom as many times as he can. And that is true. I do want to say your bottom as many times as possible. I'm going to say it twice more. Your bottom is the only bottom that can fall out.
Wow.
This doesn't have a bottom. That's the last bottom, no more.
Yeah, you're right. It's bottomless.
Exactly.
Wow. That's like beautiful and disconcerting. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
My daughter's here. Do you have anything you want to ask? No. Okay. All right. I think we asked everything. Okay. Thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you.
Gut feelings.
Oh.
Thoughts on gut feelings.
He already
already
mentioned
covered it?
gut feelings. Like
Okay.
if gut feelings happen, they're just what's arising because his
Just
To
patterns.
me,
Yes. She
Yeah.
said ask him about gut feelings.
Just
You
what
saw-
are your thoughts on gut feelings in general?
I would say that's intuitive. Well, it depends. I mean, we have no idea. When you say gut feeling, I don't really know what you mean. I just know what it means here. But there is an intuitive sense most human beings have, and what self does is override that much of the time.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Thanks.
the usual story. Self goes, well, I know this is a bad situation, and then mind goes, well, why is it? It seems okay to me. It's all seems perfectly okay. And gut feeling goes, no, this is not good. I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
self just argues and usually gets its own way.
Right. The mind overrides. Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know gut feeling is animal, basic mammalian intuition, a knowing without any knowledge, but that's what I'd guess it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Is there a feeling like of well, I guess that there's a survival, I guess, like
Instincts.
yeah, just
Yeah, I would say gut feeling is it's an intuitive knowledge without, and the mind's not involved.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
something comes along when when it's even just intellectually recognized there's no self, because it's very, very clear. It's very clear there's no time. I mean, it's not, it doesn't, like, I can't even believe people really believe it's so obvious. But there's something that comes along and tries to and that's the self, I guess, putting the brakes on that, because then you won't know something.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the knowing is the survival.
Well,
There's-
and self will say, well, what's the point of not knowing? And the answer will be, there's no point to not knowing at all. And
Right,
self will go, well, you best not go near that shit then,
right.
because there's nothing in it. What's in it for me? That's all self ever says. What's in it for me? And the answer is nothing.
Right. And that's why enlightenment teachers are so appealing, right? Because somebody's always walking away with some homework to do that they're going to get
Mhm.
something better out of it. This is nothing. You're not providing me anything.
No.
Because there's
And
no one
of
here
course,
there's no one
of
there
course,
to provide and no one to hear.
of course, if I was an enlightenment teacher, I'd teach you how to get nothing. So I'm not an enlightenment teacher.
Yeah. You're doing a piss poor job there.
Yeah,
on that.
sorry about that.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. Bye.
I have a quick question, Tim. I was just thinking about
Mm.
what you were just talking about. So, would you say a glimpse would you say this is like a glimpse? I would say it's not like a glimpse. Like a glimpse seems like contrast. There seems to be contrast, right?
Well,
There's
well,
like
again,
it seems to be an
no,
insight, but that's not like that's it's not like that.
this has nothing to do with the glimpse at all.
No,
No.
it seems more. It seems
Well,
more.
well, a glimpse is from the perspective of me, the absence of me, followed by the return of me in the story, and then me making sense of what the glimpse means.
Yeah. And then maybe expecting it to be like a glimpse
Of
somehow.
course, I would
But of
say
course,
there's nothing worse than a glimpse.
yeah. In fact, really, one glimpse that's enough, really.
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, it was more than enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not. I wouldn't say it's like a glimpse. No.
No, it's nothing to do with it because I'm not talking. This isn't experiential.
No. No.
And a
I was.
glimpse is
Thinking more.
experiential.
I was thinking more what Mary was saying about that glimpse, and then kind of wanting that again, or looking for
Yeah.
that again.
Yeah.
That's yeah. It's
See, well, a glimpse is very much like I don't know, like a drug-induced high, really. And of course,
yeah.
what does it do? It just wants you to get. Well, you just want to get high again.
Mm,
I mean, I would say it's that basic for most people.
mm,
When they have a
mm.
glimpse, it's just like, I've had a taste of ecstasy. I'll have some more of that, please.
And that must be what it's like permanently, if I can get hold of that.
Yes. And of course, we're not talking about a state. That's not what's being spoken about at all. So
Right.
what's being spoken about has nothing to do with the glimpse whatsoever.
Yeah. But the seeking for the glimpse is the
But what
energy.
usually is, yeah, the glimpse is usually just the catalyst that,
Yeah.
you know, lights the fire, you could say.
Yeah.
Lights a fire under your ass.
Yeah. And then there's more seeking, or the seeking stops, and then you're just left with just, finding nothing. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Mm,
Yeah. It's so disappointing, really, isn't it?
dreadfully so. And of course, not at all.
No.
And
Well,
that's
because
funny. And that's funny.
yeah.
It's the disappointment is only that, oh, it's not like the permanent glimpse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then the relief is the not having to look anymore, or the unsure.
Oh,
I was thinking about, for some reason, unsurety popped into my head when you were talking about, when there's a conviction that I am, I am, and I'm seeing, when there's that conviction, there seems to be a sureness. But and when you were talking about the doubtlessness, there's like an unsurety
absolutely.
about
Well,
everything. Yeah.
well, I don't like to say it, but it's the title of my new book, Darren. Have I set that up with you?
No.
The title of my new book is called Doubtless Uncertainty. I don't know if
Oh
I've
no, I
mentioned
knew
that or
that.
not.
I knew that. Yeah. I thought you were
No,
going to say
I'm
something. Yeah,
being
no,
I'm being
it's a great
facetious.
title.
Doubtless
Oh,
Uncertainty.
yeah, yeah. I missed the facetiousness.
Yeah,
I
I
saw.
know
Yeah,
you
I get
did.
it. I get it. I get it now.
It's
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that unsurety.
Well,
Yeah.
we've gone over time today.
Oh, look,
Well,
Razia and David have their hands up.
okay, David and Razia, you've got 30 seconds each. Go.
Very quickly, yes. Something very, very simple about doubtless uncertainty is that I'm never certain at this moment what's going to happen because I carry nothing forward from the past. I know there's a story about David Husky, but that is kind of almost, it's not any different than anybody else's story. It's just,
No.
it has nothing to do with what's happening now. And so the simplest thing is clearing the score of the past, and that's a continuous. That's my job every moment, to just release the past. That's it. And then the new shows up fresh. My
Yeah.
goodness, so
Well,
wonderful.
and of course, if the past shows up, David, that's new and fresh as well.
I wouldn't know that.
In disguise as the past.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Razzie.
I think the premise of what I learned from you is there's nothing to find and no one to find it, I mean, that like kind of is what you're always telling us. But then I was thinking about psychology and science. And I mean, lots of us put a lot of faith in science, like science proves this, and science is all like about proof and things like that. But if we have to think about it, both science and psychology are also part of the story.
Oh no, yeah, and I mean, I'm probably as interested in science as I've ever been, because
Yeah.
for me, science is investigating the relative truths of the universe, and the relative truths are the relative truths. But it's got nothing to say about absolute truth at all. And well, that's beautiful. So this isn't a negation of science in any sense at all. Quite the contrary.
Yeah, no, I know, but what I'm saying is it is like glimpses are also part of the story.
Yeah.
As is enlightenment. It's all part of the story. And we take it out of it to mean something, but it doesn't, because it's just a remembering and forgetting of who we are, of what this is, you know? And yeah, but one interesting thing I learned in science was that, like, we are all made of atoms, or I don't know what it is, right? But it's just like we're not solid.
Well,
We
the
are not
most romantic idea is that we're all made of stardust. Oh, I love that. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, but this is like
I'm
we're
an
not
old
solid.
romantic. The fact that human beings are actually made of stars. I mean,
Yeah.
how much more wonderful can it possibly be?
Yeah. Yes, of course. Thanks. But thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Razia. Lovely to see you, and great to see everyone. I just finished and just say I've got a meeting in Dorking in Surrey, just South London, in 3 weeks' time. If you'd like to come, then just email me, and the details of it are on my website. And there's also a whole weekend in Berlin in September, and again the details are on timclissthis.com. Thanks, Darren. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks everybody who contributed.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.